Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to this explainer where we're tackling a massive point of friction for real estate investors, writing short sale offers that actually close. Look, if you're an investor looking at distressed properties, you already know that navigating short sales can feel a bit like trying to run through a brick wall. But today, we're going to break down the rigid rules of the bank. We'll be using the National Association of Realtors Short Sales and Foreclosure Resource Student Manual, the CR7G Short Sale Rider, and specific state and federal laws to show you exactly how to structure an offer that actually works.
So this is the ultimate frustration, isn't it? You run the numbers, you find a distressed seller, you submit what honestly looks like a great offer, and then, bam, it gets flat out rejected by the lender. It wastes your time, it ties up your capital for absolutely nothing, and meanwhile, the foreclosure clock just keeps ticking on the homeowner. So why does this keep happening? Well, to answer that, we really have to look at how the bank views these transactions.
All right, the crucial point is this. Think of this as our anchor idea for this entire explainer. A short sale simply means the bank agrees to take less than they're owed and release their lien so the house can actually sell. That is the core concept. The bank takes a loss, they get paid off at closing at a reduced amount, and the lien is gone. Any offer that fights this fundamental truth is going to automatically fail. You've got to keep this anchor idea in mind as we look at the most common investor pitfalls. Section 1. The don'ts. Dismantling bad habits. Mistake number 1. Subject to offers. Subject to is a strategy that is, very popular in traditional investing, but it is absolutely fatal in a short sale. In a standard subject to deal, you take title to the house and you leave the seller's existing mortgage in place, just making the payments on that old loan. But remember our anchor idea? The whole point of a short sale is the bank forgiving a portion of the balance and releasing the mortgage at closing. Literally, there is no loan left to take subject to. You cannot logically ask a bank to forgive part of a loan and release it while simultaneously asking to keep that exact same loan in place so you can profit off it. Those two concepts just cancel each other out completely. Moving on to Section 2, the don'ts. Dismantling bad habits. Mistake number 2, assignable contracts. Submitting contracts with the May Assign box checked is, well, it's bread and butter for wholesalers, right? But in the short sale world, it is a total non-starter. And here is exactly why. The National Association of Realtors SFR Student Manual explicitly outlines the arm's length requirement. Because the bank is taking a real financial loss, they demand a clean, honest sale to a real, completely unrelated buyer at true market value. An assignable contract completely blows a hole in this requirement. Think about it. If you can assign the contract, the bank has literally no idea who the real end buyer is or what they're actually paying for the property. It obscures the very transparency the bank absolutely requires to approve their loss in the first place.
Let's see how this actually builds into real timeline restrictions. To strictly enforce this arm's length requirement, short sale purchases come with serious deed restrictions straight out of the SFR manual. Look at this timeline here. From day 0 to day 30 after closing, you cannot resell the property at any price. 0. And from day 31 to day 90, you cannot resell it for more than 120% of the short sale price. The bank has intentionally and firmly shut the door on same-day double closes and quick flips.
And honestly, this brilliantly illustrates just how seriously the industry takes this stuff. The SFR Student Manual explicitly lists short sale flipping and less than an arm's length transaction as examples of potential short sale fraud. That isn't just some dramatic phrasing, okay? It's the official legal language used by banks and investigators. Trying to wholesale a short sale or obscure the buyer's identity isn't just a rejected offer waiting to happen. It carries severe professional and legal consequences. All right, Section 3, the don'ts. Dismantling bad habits. Mistake number 3, missing the short sale rider. A massive mistake we see is submitting a standard base contract without the required state-specific short sale rider attached to it. If you're operating in Florida, for instance, your offer absolutely must include this document. This is the CR7G Short Sale Approval Contingency Rider. It's approved by Florida Realtors and the Florida Bar. What this rider actually does is make the entire deal explicitly contingent on the seller's lender agreeing to accept a reduced payoff and release the mortgage. Look, if this rider isn't attached to your offer simply isn't built for a short sale yet. Period. Now, I know you might be thinking this is just more bureaucratic red tape, but hold on, it actually protects you, the investor. This outlines exactly how. First, the rider acknowledges that the bank is not a party to your contract. They never signed it, so they sure aren't obligated to respond on your timeline. Second, and honestly most importantly for protecting your capital, if the bank drags its feet and denies the sale, or if the home ends up going to a foreclosure sale while you're just sitting there waiting, this rider ensures your deposit is fully refunded and you are released from the contract. It is literally your safety net.
And hey, this rider also solves the problem of closing dates. A really bad tactic we see constantly is an investor trying to force a fixed calendar closing date, like saying, close by the 15th of next month. Newsflash, the bank doesn't care about your fictional calendar date. They work entirely on their own clock. The good tactic? Using the CR7G rider, which naturally ties the closing date to a set number of days, defaulting to 45 days usually, after actual bank approval is received. It perfectly aligns your timeline with reality.
Moving to Section 4, the don'ts. Dismantling bad habits. Sneaking in problematic contract terms. We all know investors love to sneak specific little demands into the additional terms section of the contract. But in a short sale, these can instantly kill the deal dead. Here's a classic example. An investor writes, seller will provide clean title day one with no liens. Well, a distressed seller in a short sale simply cannot guarantee that up front. There might be a second mortgage, maybe a tax lien, or an HOA lien. Clearing those secondary liens is the exact purpose of the short sale process in the first place. The honest reality and exactly how your contract should read is that title passes subject to short sale approval and lender payoff. The liens get addressed through the process, for sure, just not by a day one guarantee.
Similarly, demanding things like no rental or resale restrictions is just a non-starter. As this exact quote from the SFR student manual reminds us, most short sales are strictly as-is transactions. The seller is in deep financial distress. They have absolutely no money to fix anything, and the bank certainly isn't going to step in to fund repairs. Blanket promises about the property condition or local rental rules just can't be given. The due diligence on an as-is property is entirely your job as the buyer during the inspection period. No one is going to do it for you. Okay, Section 5, the legal reality check, foreclosure rescue and federal rules.
We really need to do a legal reality check here because the stakes go far, far beyond just a rejected offer. There are incredibly strict state and federal laws governing distressed properties, and the penalty for getting it wrong is massive. Just look at that number, $15,000. Under Florida Statute 501.1377, the foreclosure rescue law, that is the maximum penalty per violation for illegal foreclosure rescue transactions. The state cracks down heavily on equity stripping plays, specifically schemes where an investor buys a home from a seller in foreclosure and then turns around and rents it back to them, with a promise they can buy it back later. These buy and rent back setups are highly, highly regulated. They require strict written notices and cancellation rights, and getting them wrong carries severe financial and legal consequences. Just don't mess around with it.
Layered right on top of state law is the federal MARS rule, also known as Regulation O. This federal rule expressly defines a short sale as a mortgage assistance relief service. So, what does that actually mean for you? It means it is a literal federal violation to guarantee a homeowner that a foreclosure will be stopped, period. It also strictly prohibits collecting any advance fee from a distressed homeowner before you have official written lender approval. No false promises, and absolutely no upfront money from people who are already in financial trouble.
Which brings us to Section 6, the blueprint, writing an offer that works. Okay, we've dismantled the bad habits, and we've looked at the legal guardrails. Now let's build the definitive blueprint for an offer the bank can actually process and, more importantly, approve. Here is your step-by-step checklist. Step 1. Check the box that clearly says the contract may not assign. You must be the actual end buyer. Step 2. Attach the correct state-approved paperwork like the CR7G short sale rider if you're in Florida. Step 3. Do not force a calendar closing date. Use that rider to tie your closing timeline directly to the bank's written approval. And finally, Step 4. Accept that the property is entirely as is, and that title will pass subject to the final short sale payoff. If you follow these 4 simple steps, you are finally working with the bank's rules instead of fighting against them.
And that brings us to our final thought for today. The information is out there, right? The rules of the bank and the law are crystal clear. So the real question you have to ask yourself before submitting your next offer is this: are you building a distressed property strategy that stubbornly fights the rules, or are you building one that respects the process and actually closes? Align your strategy with reality, and your success rate is absolutely going to transform. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, keep adapting, and we'll see you on the next one.